Following the latest rebrand of As Ever after Meghan Markle's partnership with Netflix, critics argue that the brand appears more confused and disconnected than ever. According to this perspective, the new promotional photos and videos come across as overly polished and pretentious, especially at a time when many people are struggling with rising everyday expenses such as groceries and fuel. The criticism centers on the idea that the brand lacks a clear identity and message, making it difficult for consumers to understand what As Ever truly represents. Observers suggest that Meghan appears out of touch with the average customer, presenting a luxury lifestyle that feels distant from the realities of everyday life. The rebrand itself has also been questioned, with some arguing that frequent changes signal deeper problems within the business rather than growth or innovation. Website updates, branding inconsistencies, and marketing choices have further fueled concerns that the company lacks a coherent direction. Critics maintain that despite attracting occasional bursts of attention on social media, the brand struggles to sustain public interest because it offers little that feels new, relatable, or compelling to its target audience. The criticism continued with Meghan Markle's updated social media presence and promotional content for As Ever. Commentators argued that her new profile picture was poorly designed, claiming it looked overly staged and failed to create a strong visual identity. They also questioned the effectiveness of the brand's latest promotional video, describing it as artificial and lacking authenticity. According to critics, the campaign focused heavily on carefully posed imagery rather than demonstrating the practical value of the products or the hospitality-centered lifestyle the brand claims to promote. Scenes showing Meghan alone in a kitchen, looking thoughtfully at jars of fruit spread and other products, were described as confusing from a marketing perspective because they failed to communicate a clear message or purpose. Critics suggested that a hospitality brand should showcase people gathering, sharing meals, and enjoying the products together rather than relying on highly stylized solo shots. They further argued that the campaign appeared disconnected from consumers and lacked the warmth, relatability, and genuine storytelling needed to build a successful lifestyle brand. The redesigned website also faced criticism, with some describing it as more cluttered and less appealing than the previous version. Overall, detractors viewed the rebrand as another example of inconsistent messaging, arguing that the visual presentation focused more on image and aesthetics than on creating a compelling connection between the products and potential customers. The reviewer argues that Meghan Markle's latest rebrand of As Ever has only made the brand look worse. According to the criticism, the website and promotional materials appear cluttered, confusing, and disconnected from the brand's supposed focus on hospitality. The reviewer believes that a hostess-focused brand should showcase people gathering, entertaining guests, and enjoying products together, rather than featuring Meghan alone posing with jars of spread, tea, and other products. A major criticism is that the marketing lacks a clear message. The reviewer questions why many of the promotional photos show Meghan sitting alone, reading books, staring at jars of spread, or posing in what appears to be a staged kitchen. In their view, these images fail to communicate the purpose of the brand or demonstrate how the products fit into everyday entertaining. Instead of creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere, the campaign is described as overly focused on Meghan herself. The reviewer also criticizes the new imagery and website design, calling the photos dark, poorly lit, and unsuitable for a spring-themed brand. They argue that the products are often difficult to see because the focus is placed on Meghan's appearance, clothing, and jewelry rather than the items being sold. According to the critique, effective advertising should highlight the products clearly, but these images do the opposite. Another point raised concerns the language used throughout the website. The reviewer claims that some of the branding messages are confusing and that even basic grammar appears inconsistent. They also question why the company frequently refers to hospitality and entertaining, while rarely showing actual guests or social gatherings in its marketing materials. The reviewer further argues that As Ever suffers from a lack of product variety and innovation. They point out that many of the same products remain available months after launch and suggest that the rebrand would have been more effective if it had introduced new offerings rather than simply redesigning the website and adding new photographs. Overall, the reviewer concludes that the rebrand has not solved what they see as the brand's core problem: a lack of clear identity and connection with consumers. In their opinion, the campaign feels overly polished, disconnected from everyday life, and focused more on image than on demonstrating the value of the products themselves. The reviewer continues to criticize Meghan Markle's As Ever rebrand, expressing disbelief at what they describe as a poorly executed marketing campaign. They argue that the website redesign has actually made the brand worse, calling it confusing, ineffective, and lacking a clear direction. According to the reviewer, many of the products, including chocolates and fruit spreads, remain difficult to sell, and the company appears to be bundling slow-moving items together in an effort to clear excess inventory. They point to reports that large quantities of fruit spreads were produced but sold very slowly, suggesting that the brand is now trying to move that stock through gift sets and promotional packages. The reviewer also criticizes the product photography and promotional videos, claiming that the images are unappetizing and fail to showcase the products effectively. Instead of highlighting the food items, the marketing focuses heavily on Meghan herself, often posing alone in stage settings. In the reviewer's opinion, this approach does not fit a brand that promotes hospitality and entertaining. They argue that a true hospitality brand should feature gatherings, guests, and shared experiences rather than solitary lifestyle shots. Another criticism is that the website now offers too many categories and options despite having a relatively limited product range. The reviewer believes the brand lacks enough products to justify such a complex layout. They also mock some of the marketing language, including descriptions that portray the brand as a love language, suggesting that the messaging feels overly dramatic and disconnected from the products being sold. Looking ahead, the reviewer predicts a difficult future for As Ever. They argue that the rebrand introduces few meaningful changes beyond new photographs and visual updates, while failing to address deeper issues such as product appeal and brand identity. In their view, the company would have benefited more from launching new products and creating a stronger connection with consumers rather than focusing on additional promotional images. Overall, the reviewer concludes that the rebrand reflects ongoing struggles within the business and does little to improve its long-term prospects. The reviewer concludes that As Ever lacks a clear identity and emotional appeal. In their opinion, the brand's messaging is inconsistent, shifting between themes of hospitality, pantry staples, and lifestyle content without presenting a cohesive vision. They argue that the promotional images feel overly luxurious and disconnected from the everyday experiences of average consumers. According to the reviewer, many people are dealing with rising living costs, including higher fuel and grocery prices, making it difficult to relate to a brand that showcases expensive clothing, lavish settings, and an affluent lifestyle. The reviewer believes that if Meghan Markle wanted the rebrand to succeed, she should have focused on making the brand feel more accessible and relatable. They suggest featuring a diverse range of people enjoying the products together, creating the sense of community and hospitality that the brand claims to represent. Instead, they feel the marketing revolves too heavily around Meghan herself, often showing her alone in carefully staged environments rather than demonstrating how the products fit into real-life gatherings and entertaining. Another criticism centers on the visual presentation of the campaign. The reviewer describes the photographs as flat, dark, and lacking energy, arguing that they fail to showcase the products effectively. In some cases, they claim it is difficult to tell what is actually being advertised because the focus is placed on lifestyle imagery rather than the products themselves. They also question whether the branding creates any meaningful connection with consumers, suggesting that the campaign feels more like a personal photo shoot than a product-focused marketing effort. Ultimately, the reviewer believes the rebrand highlights deeper issues within the business. They argue that As Ever is struggling to establish a strong identity, and that the updated imagery appears to be an attempt to revive interest without addressing the underlying challenges. In their view, the brand has yet to demonstrate why consumers should choose its products over less expensive alternatives available elsewhere. As a result, they conclude that the campaign does little to strengthen the brand's position and instead reinforces concerns about its long-term prospects.